Hi, everyone. It's Orit here. I'm sorry for the slight delay that we had a little technical issue, but we're here, we're live, and I just wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm glad for those of you that are able to join us. Please make sure to say hello and put in hashtag live. And those of you, if you're watching the replay, absolutely put in hashtag replay. I'm really excited about today's topic because it has been a conversation I've had with every single parent that I had spoken to when it comes to their advocacy goals, right? Because parents want to be heard. You want to be not only heard, but you want your ideas and your solutions for your child to be considered. And so, how do we get that done? Oftentimes, I hear parents talking about, you know, the school didn't take any of my suggestions or they weren't hearing anything that I was saying. And I find out after uncovering, some of the information is a lot of times it's done verbally. And that's a big no-no. All right. And I'll put it out there. It's a big no-no. So today, one of the things I want to talk to you about are what are the three essential reasons why a parent concerns letter is your IEP game changer. Because as we know, advocates, parents, special education teachers, administrators, we know if it's not in writing, it did not happen. Okay, so let's dive in here because today's really about how do we empower your voice? How do we empower your collaboration with the school? And how do we support your documentation journey? Because that's such an important part. All right, so let's start with the first reason, okay? The first reason is that your voice really truly matters. And when you advocate for your neurodivergent child, think of your voice as the key that opens the doors for the school to understand what your child needs. You are the expert in the room on your child. The educators are experts in educating children, okay? And for you to be part of the decision-making process, it's not just your voice that needs to be heard, but your words need to be heard. And your voice is heard through the words because people are sitting there and they're reading. They're processing your words at the rate in which they can process the words, right? So by writing a thoughtful letter to educators, not using emotion, but really thinking about your child's process, thinking about their data, it gives you a chance to utilize your voice at the IEP table. All right. And the same thing is kind of for your children with 504 plans as well. Okay. So just make sure that you are aware of that. That's a really important piece for you to know. And I'm just going to do a quick little check. I want to know, those of you, if you are commenting, hashtag live, hashtag replay, or if you have any questions, just know I might not be able to see it at the moment while I'm doing the live, but I will definitely get back to you once the live is over, and I will answer any and all questions that you have. All right. So let's now look into what are some action tips that you can utilize when it comes to your voice and how to amplify the voice. You want to make sure that you are writing this letter with heart and not with emotion. So what do I mean by that? You want to appeal to the heartstrings of your educators, yet you don't want to be emotional when you're writing this letter and have an emotional charge. Because if you think about it, in the event that you may have to go to due process, you want to think about when I'm writing this letter, am I writing it that I will be okay that it's read in court? Okay. And the last thing you want is to put in this emotional charge in a letter, and then all of a sudden it's being read aloud in the event that you end up in due process and you're thinking, oh gosh, I wish I didn't write that. Okay. So you really want to think about the long-term impact of what you're putting in that letter. The other thing that you want to include is humanize your child. You want to make sure that they're human and using certain words, certain phrases, amplifies the humanity of your child, okay? Because sometimes I think as educators, they're so bombarded and so overwhelmed with what they need to get done that they sometimes forget that our little people are just that. They are people, they're humans that we have to kind of bring to light for our educators. So those are kind of some tips on how you can transform your words and make them super powerful. So what's the second reason why you want to include a parent concerns letter? You want to be able to collaborate with the school, right? So the people and the parents I work with, they value the collaboration piece and being able to have everyone heard at the table, especially and including themselves. So because there's such an important collaborative piece here, you are now not only amplifying your voice in the letter, but you're also showing your collaborative approach how to help your child because you are the expert on your child. What's worked, what hasn't worked, what are some solutions that you may suggest to be able to affect your child's educational trajectory. So those are important pieces that you really want to think about because that's where the parents and teachers can join forces and brainstorm ways in which that helps their kids. So think about it this way. If I had a situation, I'm actually going to use an example of one of my clients, is that we were at the meeting. This child has certain needs that they have, and the school was viewing the kid one way. And when the parents wrote and we worked on their parent concerns letter and we made this robust kind of letter based on who their child is and the person in front of them, all of a sudden the conversation had changed for the parent as in past conversations. They all of a sudden felt way more empowered. They knew exactly what they wanted and they knew exactly what they didn't want for their child. And they were able to provide their own suggestions, which then gave administrators and even the director of special education opportunities to say yes to things that they can try for the child, gather the data on it, and see whether or not that can be included in their IEP. So this is something that really can support the child in the long term and even support the school. All right. So just know that schools try their best and you can also collaborate with them so that they could do something different. All right. So an action tip here would be kind of like how you can write the letter, and the parents, and I'm going to talk about again the clients that I'm working with, they were able to humanize their child and also appeal to the educators as to how they want to collaborate with them. And they had provided their own suggestions that educators didn't actually think about before. So it really showed that collaborative mindset of these are the things that school had done that had worked really well. These are things that we had some concerns about, but here are some suggestions that we think could be beneficial. All right. But then also remember, just because you're providing suggestions, the school can consider it. Okay. That is in IDEA, that the school can consider the suggestions. Yet it would probably be best for them to pay attention because you know it works. Right. So it's one of those things that's how you can collaborate with schools. And the result of what happens, and this is something that we noticed with this particular child that I'm talking about, is that the child started engaging more in their learning. What more can you possibly ask for than a child engaging versus just complying, right? So that makes a huge difference as well. The child was engaging, the child was starting to take an interest in the work that they were doing, and it was just because we had a conversation. The parents wrote their concerns, they wrote suggestions, and we were able to have that conversation about what is best for the child. So huge win for the parent. And then the last part and the last reason why, you really want that parent concerns letter is you want to document that journey. Okay. When you put documentation, when you put your words into writing, this now becomes part of your child's IEP. Every IEP, as per the law, says that there is a parent input section. Okay, there is a parent input section in every single IEP, no matter what the format is. All right. So when you write this letter and you ask for them to add it to your child's IEP, it is now literally needs to be copied and pasted into that letter, into your child's program. And it also shows evidence of suggestions that you made that you think would benefit for your child. So in the event, let's say now moving forward, the school chooses not to pay attention to any of your suggestions and they're gathering data on other things and it's not working for your child, and they're saying, well, your child's not able to make meaningful progress, or you're saying, well, my kid's not making meaningful progress and you haven't considered any of my suggestions. Now it's also showing that you are not being considered a meaningful participant. Now the district could say, well, you are a meaningful participant because we included your IEP and your parent concerns in the letter. Great, you included it, but you didn't take any of my suggestions, and now my kid's not doing well. And I told you this is what works. So this is a great opportunity to really leverage your voice and say, yeah, it is documented that I made this suggestion. You decided not to go with that suggestion or a series of these suggestions. And now look where my kid is. So let's fix it. And this just creates more of that process and strengthens your voice, your collaboration, and documenting that information. Now you're able to say, well, now we have to go back and open the IEP and make some changes. There we go. All right. So at least it's documented. And because the IEP is a living document, it is something that is fluid. It can be modified. It can be changed and adjusted every time a new accommodation or a new, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking right now. I'm blanking. Anyway, anytime anything new changes for the child's IEP, then you can actually open the IEP, or if everyone's on board and the team all agrees, you don't actually need to meet for the IEP meeting. You could just sign the letter and say, we're all in agreement to try this out. Intervention. That's the word I was looking for. I blanked out. So that's the intervention. So if any new intervention is going to be put into place, then you're able to actually just sign off on it. You don't need to meet if the whole team is in agreement. Okay. But if the whole team is not in agreement, then you do need to meet, especially as a parent. If you're not in agreement, then you do need to meet. Okay. So this is where you really want to have an effective letter. You want to break down your areas of your concern. You want to show them why you're concerned about it. You want to even provide suggestions for how to remedy these concerns. And you want to be able to also give the dates and details as to why these concerns are a concern for you. Okay. So if I have a concern about my child and I say, well, I'm concerned that they're not paying attention in school and they're not doing the best that they can do, then they'll say, okay, that's a concern. Thank you for letting us know. But if I give them more specific information with dates, with examples, with, shall we just say, the data, right? If I give them all the data, now I'm able to write that letter in a better way, more effective way, and one where my voice is amplified. All right. Think about lawyering it. You got to lawyer it to make your point. And if you're not sure, if you're kind of unsure, or you want to really make sure that your letter packs a punch, come and comment down on the bottom, leave a message. You could DM me. I'm happy to discuss it with you and be able to make sure that your letters do pack a punch, because it really is a game changer. It truly is. And I cannot stress that enough. All right. So I look forward to seeing you on our next live chat, a live event. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback on any of the content that I am putting out there, or if you have any questions or ideas on what you want to see or listen to or have me do a live. leave me feedback. I'd love to get to know what it is that you're looking for. All right. I'll speak to everyone soon and have a great week. Bye-bye.